Neck joints are a very difficult thing to do, and I've got the best way. Follow along. First and foremost, let's go over the few types of neck joints that there are. This is the traditional dovetail. I had this guy laying around, much like many other things in the shop. This is essentially how a dovetail is done from a factory, and this goes for your typical Martin guitars or a lot of other. This portion is undercut in comparison to this, and then they will use bits, bobs, scraps, and whatever else to fill in the difference, and that constitutes a good neck joint. And this is, you know, a factory guitar, so this passed quality control. That's why these dovetails have to be reset, because there's a whole lot going on here that is wrong for a guitar. That said, for a violin, this is a great way, mainly because everything is chalk fit. Let me show you a Spanish heel. Okay, so this is the remnants of a Spanish heel from a previously finished guitar. I'm not going to say who it is, but let's just say that there is a number underneath. If you know, you know. So typically, this is all done in one piece inside of the neck. You have your sides which slip into a slot, which is very carefully cut. As you can see, there's no glue on a Spanish heel or a Spanish foot. That means that you have these sides that are slipped in. The glue would make the heel get stuck, or the sides get stuck as you're gluing it all together. But it also doesn't have as much structure against resisting the pull, which caused some of the cracking along the side of the fingerboard here, among other issues that the guitar had. But that said, this is a very traditional, very quick to do, but difficult. And it's easy and difficult at the same time. It's annoying. But I'm going to show you the way that I do it, which is a very, very easy way in terms of repeatability, so that way my fingerboards are consistent. With this, you're dependent on your work board to adjust your angle. With the dovetail, you're dependent on the whole system and everything lining up properly, and there's a lot of variability. So let's actually fit a neck. This is a neck that I've made thus far. I've got my heel block glued on up here to my neck blank here, which has the taper. It's roughly cut, and I've got my heel cap on. I mean, this is essentially dimensioned down to where it needs to be for the neck, you know, for getting onto my carving machine, which I'm not going to show you just because that's dusty and noisy and kind of boring. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to route a slot up the middle, which will also correspond to a slot on my guitar body, which will line up perfectly on the center line. So the way that I've done that is by drilling a hole, and all of my necks have a small hole here, a very set distance from the end of the neck, which references to this pin on my routing jig. So this will go into here. This will go on here. And with my center line scribed, I'm going to lock everything in place so that way it's perfectly in line. Once I've done that, I've got this router, which was set up about 40 years ago, maybe more. And we've never taken it down because it means that every single thing on this has been sorted out. It's perfectly square and true to our jig, and therefore we aren't compounding any errors. So I'm gonna buzz this, and you're gonna be along for the noise, maybe, or not. At this point, I want to look up the center of this and figure out where in relation to the end of the bit that I want it to stop. So if I leave it go full length, it's going to cut to here. So I can use this to determine how far from the edge I want to go. I want to take off about a saddle's width and that much. And that's how much I'm going to leave on both sides. So I'm going to wrap the neck, and then I'm going to get the body lined up, and you'll see how those two come together. Hold on while I get my dust collection and ear protection on, because that's how we stay safe in the shop. There we have it. This is the center, and I'm not too worried about whatever happens on both sides of this line, because now I can carve it down, and I've got my center line perfectly lined up. So I'm going to do the same for the guitar body, leaving the same amount of space at the end. So with our guitar body, we are of pragmatic means. We had a piece of 2x4. Again, I think this is close to 40 years old. It was roughly cut down the middle. It doesn't have to be perfect, obviously. But what we're going to do is we're going to mount up the guitar in the middle, and then we're going to get it lined up at the top. And we're going to use these wedges to hold things together, and then use a clamp through the sound hole to make sure that it's not moving around. So this one's a little bit on the fiddly side. So first things first is I want to sight my scored center line here with my center line of my sides running up here. I'm going to line up the center line of my top visually with this line here. Come back and double check, because sometimes things move around. Now that I've got those two on, I'm going to grab a couple clamps. And lock the body on. I'm going to do one more last double check, just because this is a very critical point. The top is good up here. We're right on the center line down here. And these wedges are holding the guitar in place. These clamps are tight. And this clamp is tight. Everything is good. One more time. Safety first. So that's how we get that in. Next up, we're going to fit the neck to the body, using the body as a sanding caul, so that way everything is held together. I'll meet you over at that machine. This is a thing of beauty. It is one of the most questioned machines in my shop. And at its core, it's 3 separate barrels with a custom length belt. This is a tracking barrel, a couple bearings that run full length, or we have a couple bearings that are mounted on either side all the way through, so the vast majority of the width is actually for stability. And it is run off of a single motor, so it just works pretty effortlessly. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna slide the sled out. If you recall the indicator pin, that mounts in right here. So that portion of the neck is going to go right here. And then we're going to line up the center line right here at the end of the block on our center line. It's going to get clamped down. Our body is going to get clamped face down onto this with our center lines here. And we are going to use one of these biscuits here as a locating piece to locate the neck to the body, so that way the center lines are completely lined up. Once those center lines are lined up and this is all locked into place, we're going to turn on this belt. We're going to have the neck sanded and fit to the body. And if you're picking up the sound of rushing water, I'm essentially doing this under a waterfall. It's pouring rain outside, and our our roof drain runs straight through our shop, but it's okay, it doesn't leak, so I'm not too worried about it. Okay, so my neck is set into this jig, which is riding on the rails. I'm gonna just kind of line that up so that way the body is sitting over this gap. I'm gonna double check my center line down here. I'm gonna lock this down with our custom made clamp, and having made clamps, I can tell you, buy your own, it's not worth it. Okay, I'm gonna slide these apart. Push this in. So now the sandpaper is running directly on the body. At this point, all I have to do is turn it on and sand it until this goes away. But first, dust collection. Everything we do has to have dust collection. And just like that, all I have to do is sand this. I've got another biscuit that actually fits this a lot tighter. That's gonna get glued into here. And then once I carve my neck, this is how the neck is going to fit together. Absolutely perfect. This is a great method. You don't have to have a machine this size to do this. It's very easy to make something significantly smaller. We just have the luxury of space, so this is why ours is this big. Like, follow, subscribe, and check out one of these videos.